You're watching Fantasy Now Plus.
What is up, everyone? Welcome in to another best ball stream. It's been a while, been a few weeks, been kind of not necessarily the dead season, but not a lot of news happening, not a lot of changes happening, so not really a ton to talk about or do in the best ball landscape. Obviously, you could still draft, but wasn't much info to really draft on or take advantage of. But we're back. It's April. The draft is a few weeks away, and we've got a special little treat here at the top before we get into best ball. We are going to do a first round NFL mock draft. I, of course, am joined by my co-host, Bryan Rockwood. Bryan, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been quite a bit since we've been on the live stream here, but I'm excited to be back. You know, to your point, it's not necessarily a dead time of year. Free agency was crazy, and then it wasn't. So a lot happened. I don't know if things changed, if that makes sense. I think a few situations were interesting from a best ball standpoint, but nothing really matters until the real NFL draft happens. So we're here. We're going to see if we can nail it, see if we can figure out in our little crystal ball, see if we can get the first round. I think perfectly, probably. I believe in us at least.
Absolutely.
But I am just excited to just, yap it up again.
Absolutely. What is up, Charlene?
Thanks, Charlene.
Been a hot minute, but we're back in these streets. Yeah, I think we should just hop right into it. If y'all were not aware, Underdog launched a mock draft site, basically, where you can submit your mock draft and it'll kind of go up on like a leaderboard. They're interested to see who can get the closest as far as like the amount of picks that are correct, all that kind of stuff. I don't think there's any like prize or anything, but you never know. They could pull something out of a hat. They are Underdog. Do you want odds or evens?
Selfishly, I'll take odds because I at least know who's probably going to go one overall. But I will say, we'll talk about it. All right, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. I will take odds to start.
Sounds good. Then you are on the clock with the Raiders.
Okay. So I know that you are in on, and I'll call it the, not really conspiracy theory, if you will, but the contrarian theory that the Raiders probably shouldn't take Mendoza one overall.
Yes.
And today's signing of Kirk Cousins kind of has me thinking I'm on that train now. Because Kirk Cousins is going to want to start, and having, spending your one overall on the QB, not having to play pretty quickly is something we haven't seen the NFL do a lot anymore.
Yeah.
Like the idea of sitting behind a veteran QB has kind of been shelved for some reason. And I don't really know if that is going to continue. I don't know if they're going to break the, the trend.
Yeah.
But they might. And that's the annoying part of the draft.
Yep.
So it kind of, have you ever seen like the big old bell curve type of memes there? And I think it's going to end up just being Mendoza one overall. Like, just lock it in. He's going to sit behind Kirk and, learn because they're the same player. We kind of joke, like, they seem like the same personality. I just don't see them going any other direction, really. Yeah. Like, all the defensive players that are up next are all very good. And part of me wants to say, yeah, that would be kind of sick having David Bailey on the other side of Max Crosby or having Arbel Reese on the other side of Crosby. That seems like a pretty worthwhile investment to your defense while you can wait another year on your already kind of weird offense. But I don't know. I just, like everything I've just said, just going to kind of throw it away and just say Mendoza won, and we can move on.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm definitely in the camp of like, in a perfect world, I would not be taking Mendoza one, but you don't get the number one pick every year. Like, you can even try for it and still fail at that. So I understand why they're going to do it. I think it's probably going to end up being the smart move. Whether it actually pays off or not is fully up to him, but they at least have Clinton Kubiak. They at least have two offensive stalwarts around him in Genty and Bowers. They can add more in this draft. Hopefully they add some offensive line. But they did some good things in free agency. They may still trade Max Crosby later on for less of a haul than what they would have gotten from the Ravens, but could still get some late day one, early day two picks and continue to build around him. So totally agree there. I'm up with the New York Football Jets at 2. They need a quarterback, and it's a one quarterback draft in typical Jets fashion. So they're left high and dry. And at this point, they kind of just need to take the best available player, in my opinion. Like, their offensive line is pretty solid. You can always make the offensive line better, but like you have two bookend tackles for the next 5 to 10 years already in place. You've got a running back that you won't let go from jail. So there's no reason to take Jeremiah Love at 2, though that would be a very Jets move. So I think I'm just going to kind of stick to consensus so far. Go Arvell Reese. Whether he plays edge or more off-ball linebacker, I think he's an elite off-ball linebacker that could become an elite edge rusher. People are going to naturally comp him to Micah Parsons. I think Parsons was a much better edge rusher to start, but Reese is a much better linebacker to start. And it's more of just, you hope he develops, but at the very least, he's like a pretty bona fide stud as an off-ball linebacker. And like, the theme of this 2026 class, both in fantasy and not in fantasy, is that the premium positions just don't exist. There's one good running back. There's, we hope, 3 good to great wide receivers. There's one, we hope, good quarterback, and everything else is just kind of up in the air. Like, the tackle class is weak. The edge class is pretty top heavy. So everything is just kind of, some of your best players at the top of the draft are a running back, a safety, and a couple of off-ball linebackers that are kind of weird hybrid players that could have some people freaked out. So we'll go Arvell Reese, but definitely a weird class and a weird draft at this point.
And it just doesn't get easier, because now at the 3 spot, the Cardinals have a ton to fix.
Yep.
And it's very tempting to just have them pick Jeremiah Love here. I know they don't necessarily need running back, but you need to start building this offense again somewhere. Trey Benson, I don't know if he's ever going to get there. I know he's still kind of young, but this is going to be year 3 now, and he's played like 3 games. That's a huge bummer. Maybe it's the Kyron Williams thing where we had to have patience, and maybe eventually he'll come through. James Conner is still on the roster. He's just, I don't know. So running backs is a weird mess with the Cardinals. And outside of that, the defense still feels a little weak. I could be wrong. I feel like they had a couple of big name guys, but they just never played at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I know you have Will Johnson's the corner, and then there was the tackle who played like 4 games.
Yeah, Walter Nolan.
Yeah, Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
So
They
here,
were wildly hurt.
yeah. So for here again, I think it's just best available, and then to you, at you, the listener, you as a Cardinals fan, best available is kind of up for interpretation, right? Like you're hovering Francis Mauga, sure. Like if O-line, like I think O-line is also just a better thing to develop on a team that needs everything. O-line is a safe spot to start. To me, it kind of just goes there. David Bailey is very good, but I think that offense needs a lot of work, and it's very young, so might as well start rebuilding at the trenches. I think we kind of go here. I think you go OT.
Sounds good. Yeah, Francis Maui Noah, top tackle available. Whether or not he actually is a tackle or more of a guard is something we'll find out long term. But the one benefit the Cardinals have is that they have a left tackle for certain. They have Paris Johnson Jr. He is for sure in there. So Maui Noah can go to right tackle. He can play guard. I think that's a perfectly logical pick. Probably what I would do as a pseudo Cardinals GM. I like David Bailey, but the Cardinals defense is very much like pass rush by 1,000 pricks, pretty much. They have like 8 different guys that are average to above average, and they just play them all in rotation outside of Josh Sweat, who requested a trade. We'll see if he ever actually gets traded. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. I'm back on the clock with the Titans. I know the popular pick here is Jeremiah Love. That is not what I would do if I were the Titans. I know that you need to build around Cam Ward, but the skill position class of 2027 is so much wildly better than in 2026. This team is not ready to compete. This team is not ready to even attempt to start winning a lot of games. Obviously, you can't fully build like that in real life as much as we would like. GMs do have to produce, but I think the Titans are in a position where they should still be trying to get the best players available, still trying to improve their team as much as they can. And I'm going to go a bit off of consensus here. David Bailey is ranked 3, but I personally think Ruben Bain is a better edge. I think he fits the scheme of Robert Saleh better. And to be honest, he's just kind of one of those players where, like, yes, the measurables are scary, but I just don't care. He's just too good on tape. He has produced so well. I'm going to take Ruben Bain here at 4.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of players in this draft that you kind of have to battle between what was on tape versus what they measured at.
Yep.
And, obviously a lot of, Ruben Bain is kind of one of the main guys. And I know even at the pro day, some people were dogging him for the way he was hitting bags. Come on. Unfortunately, Braylon Allen said this, but it's still a good quote. He was talking about, why does it matter how I run in underwear?
Yeah.
Like, my tape of me in full pads against other people in full pads should speak for itself.
Yep.
Whatever. Braylon Allen's fine, but it doesn't matter. He's still right. The whole concept is correct.
Yep.
And nothing is more sure than that, watching all the wide receivers who run 4.2 or under, or I mean, not under, but 4.3 and under, just flame out because they're too fast, and that's all they do. They just run fast in a straight line.
Yep.
The New York Football Giants are up next, and what in the world do we do here? Because there's really no need to take Love, and that's going to be the name we're going to keep saying for the next 3 or 4 picks, because it's just at the top of our mind as fantasy players. It's at the top of our mind because he is just the best skill position player on the board. So every time a team is on, who needs help, they're in the top 5 picks. They need help everywhere. And, why not have a pretty bona fide blue chip prospect at running back? No, don't. If you have a lot more things to do, don't waste your time on a running back. We've learned it from time and time again. To me, I don't even think the defense is that bad on the Giants. I think their front 7 is very solid. So now we're looking at guys like Tate, Caleb Downs, Mansour Delane. I think this might be where I'm going to go here. I think Caleb Downs might be too hard to pass. I know Tate exists, and Tate being on the opposite side of Neighbors sounds really exciting. I think Tate is still too safe as a wide receiver to take this early. And, I love Sonny Styles. I think he's just a freak. I think if I were on the board here, I think I'm still taking Caleb Downs, despite the fact I think the safety position is pretty good. The Giants, I think it's just too good of a player to pass.
Yeah.
And I'll just lock that in, and then I'll let the Giants fans yell at me in the comments.
I mean, I see it relatively fair, like regularly in mocks for sure. Like, I think he is that level of safety. You know, he's great in coverage. He can come down in the box. Really just kind of a do-it-all safety, Derwin James type of player. And this is, like we said at the top, this is a draft of non-premium positions. So I don't think too many NFL teams are going to talk themselves out of, well, like, we can't go linebacker at 5. We can't go safety at 5. Like, who else are you going to take? Like, you're going to have to reach on players that are just farther down your board, and that's kind of just bad drafting. Won't say it won't happen because there's a lot of bad NFL teams here at the top, but they shouldn't. I am on the clock with the Browns at 6. They need help kind of everywhere, to be honest with you, but something that I don't see a lot, but I think they should do is take another edge alongside Myles Garrett. I think, you know, he's obviously now the single season sack leader, whether you agree with that gifted half sack or not, but he's a monster. They're not going to trade him. They've said so many times. He said so multiple times. And sometimes when you have a team that needs everything except for a few positions, you honestly should just make your strength a bigger strength when there's not really a clear tiebreaker one way or the other. I don't really want to reach on either of the tackles, Fano or Freeling. I think it's a little early for them. You know, Sonny Styles is good, but they just drafted Schweschinger last year, defensive rookie of the year. They still might get JOK back if he ever is able to return to football. They could use a wide receiver, but they need an alpha. Again, like you said with Tate, I'm not like super convinced that he's just like this bona fide absolute stud at wide receiver 1. They still don't have a quarterback. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go David Bailey, put him on the opposite side of Myles Garrett, make the Browns have a very New York Giants level of front 7.
Like, I like that a lot. I just like the idea of when you have a lot of holes to fill on one side of the ball, like, just be a top 5 option on the other side.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like the Browns have done this. They've tried to keep doing this in the past few years. And I think maybe with the regime change, I mean, mainly just the coach, you know, with Todd Monken there now, maybe, you know, something can change on the offense where they can help out the defense in a way of at least slowing down the game. I don't know. It's very tough with the Browns. What can you do?
Yep.
Hey,
What's
Craig
up?
Lennox.
What is
Howdy.
up? Welcome in. You're on the clock with the Commanders. Will you pull
Commanders
the trigger?
Now, this is the one I think we can't wait any longer. And with what their signings have done the past few weeks, I think they are prepping for a Jeremiah Love. And I know that crushes everybody who loves Ja'Cory Crossett-Merritt, but I think it's time for Jaden Daniels to actually get some real talent behind him. You know, I think you just lock this one in with Jeremiah Love. There's a lot of discussion to be had about going Carnell Tate. I think there's a lot of discussion to be, you know, you could decide Mekhi Lemon, or if you really want to reach on Jordan Tyson. I don't think anyone's trying to do that, though. I just think Love on that offense should really cook. And I think both selfishly for fantasy, it would be awesome. Very excited about that.
Yeah.
And then for real football, should help out, you know, Daniels a ton.
Yep.
Who's their new OC again? It's an old QB, right? Blau. I think it's David Blau.
David Blau. Pick one of your 13 QB3s that are now OCs. Which one of them are good? We'll find out.
Does Deshaun Manning even get to that level? That's mean. That's mean to say. I'm sorry.
Didn't he though? Isn't he an OC somewhere?
No, he is. I just didn't know if he ever reached QB3 on a depth chart.
Oh, I mean,
I'm sure
the Packers
did
had
at one
some
point.
pretty disgusting QB2s. He might have been a QB2 for them. They were mostly just like, if Rodgers is hurt, our season is over anyways. I'm on the clock with the Saints. Sonny Styles is very interesting at this point, falling a little bit, but I'm still not like the biggest believer in Carnell Tate, but I will say that I'm leaning Tate simply because Chris Olave does have the concussion history. He obviously stayed healthy last season. He looked great with Tyler Shuck. They look like they're going to operate with Shuck as their franchise quarterback for the next several years while he's under his rookie contract, at least, unless he like majorly regresses. But they need to get him another weapon or two. Juwan Johnson is a perfectly fine tight end, but as a second option, not great. They added Travis Achan, and I think it's time. I think it's time for Carnell Tate. Get them a nice outside wide receiver. Let Chris Olave operate a bit more as a move around wide receiver that you can put in the slot, you can put outside, you can put anywhere in the formation. And we'll let Tate be that X. We don't have to play Mason Tipton anymore. We can let Devon Vele get some random wide receiver 3 looks, or you can draft someone in the later rounds as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they double up on wide receiver in this draft just to get the depth. I don't know if Bub Means is ever going to get there. Jalen Polk is still on the roster, I think. He's still at least contracted.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I do think that is a very smart play from the Saints. I think with Kellen Moore's offense, that's like a pretty exciting thing to grab another OSU wide receiver for them.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, this one might be I'm torn because at this point Sonny Styles should go.
Yeah.
I think just in general, the Chiefs are gonna try. I mean, this is the first time they've had a top 10 pick in years. So it's about time they just pick another just pure athletic freak than Sonny Styles. I know, on our little needs chart, corner is above like linebacker, and they did just give away Trent McDuffie. But for my money, I think just picking Sonny Styles here is just too good of a value. He fell 4 spots to his, from his overall rank 5, and we're just taking our best ball lessons into GMing and saying, hey, if someone's falling, there's at one point it's gonna be very good value. So Sonny Styles, you are now a Kansas City Chief.
Plus, I mean, we saw the freak athleticism. We saw what Styles can do. If he's anywhere close to what Fred Warner is, and that's the level prospect that people are comping him to, like, the Chiefs only care about winning Super Bowls. And to win Super Bowls, you in the AFC, you have to face every single season. You have to face Lamar Jackson. You have to face Josh Allen. You have to face Joe Burrow. Like getting the quarterback of your defense in Sonny Styles that can physically match all of these players and is also great at his position. Like, that's not a bad move at all, especially as you said, his value is probably higher than that, but he just fell in this particular draft based on what other teams needed, what we wanted them to do. So I love that for them. I think that's a great pick. I'm on the clock with the Cincinnati Bengals. Should I take a third wide receiver? They could really use another pass catcher for Joe Burrow.
I think you should pick some offensive player for them. They need it for sure.
Yep. They do need offensive line. That is in consideration here. Spencer Fano, I like a lot more than Monroe Freeling. But their defense is just so hapless. And, they lost Trey Hendrickson now. It somehow has gotten worse. I don't get it.
I think someone pointed out that the Bengals have not tried to get defensive players every year.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, the magic of football and just the torture of GMing is that you have to keep trying. Like, you just have to keep trying to find those players. And I think if you're the Bengals GM again, I think you just pick all 7 rounds are defensive players. Just do anything to once again try to keep up with that. The AFC North is a weird division, but like you need to beat Lamar Jackson. So if you can't do that, that's gonna be tough. I think you just keep going.
Yeah, you see their needs. Just the entire defensive position group, nothing but defense.
Makes you think.
But still think offensive tackle's a need. But I am going to go Mansour Delane here, top corner on the board. They like DJ Turner. I think he's good, but they definitely need another corner, if not multiple. You get, like we said, playing in the AFC North, you need players that can cover. And if you want to compete with the Chiefs and the Bills of the world, you need lockdown corners. You need defense that can actually stop the offense for once. So we'll go Delane here, get them some help. Speaking of teams that need help, the Dolphins are on the clock.
Yeah, to me, this is just slam Mekhi Lemon. Let's just replace Jalen Waddle. We need to get another player who can make a difference at every point of the game. So, Mekhi Lemon, you're now heading to it's Miami South Beach? I think, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and, they signed Malik Willis. If they don't draft anyone, like, he's just back on the Titans, like just a absolutely desolate situation around him, terrible offensive line. Like, you're just setting him up to fail immediately from the jump. And like,
it would make me so sad.
I know. Like, you're basically hoping that he's actually good now. And like, I know they didn't pay that much money. There's not that much guaranteed stuff in that contract, but it's still very much like that's not doing him any favors or your franchise, really. So, like that pick, he can play all over the field. He can be in the slot. He will be far and away the wide receiver 1 for that team, and that would be very good for fantasy for us as well. Cowboys on the clock at 12. They have 2 picks in the first round from the Micah Parsons trade.
Hovering Jordan Tyson there is funny to me.
Yeah, I'm not going receiver.
Why not?
Why?
Could you imagine?
I can't imagine.
Absurd wide receiver room, and then they have to score 60 points a game.
If they can find a way to annoy George Pickens even more, they will do it. They are the Cowboys. But I'm not Jerry Jones, thankfully, so I'm going to make an intelligent pick here. Don't love any of the edge players. I think these rankings are a little high for them. There's not really any linebackers that are worth pulling up to this position. I think, there's been a lot of questions about Jermon McCoy. Obviously, he tore his ACL last season. Their first-round corner last year was also coming in off of a torn ACL. So this would be 2 in a row, but McCoy kind of put some of the fears of how ready he is to rest. He blew up at his pro day recently, ran great times, great explosion. He will almost certainly be ready for training camp. I think you take Jermon McCoy here. He's probably the best corner in reality, but he just had that injury concern attached to him, and I think the Cowboys should take advantage of that. I know that it's 2 years in a row, but they still need a corner, especially after they moved on from, what was his name?
Diggs.
Yeah. Trevion Diggs. Like, they definitely still need a third corner. McCoy can come in and be that for them. So we're going to take that there, and you're on the clock with the Rams via the Falcons.
Yeah. Man, what a trade for the Falcons, huh?
Yeah. Especially because of what happened with Pierce now.
Gosh. So this is an interesting spot too, because a lot of folks early in the mock drafting process started thinking, all right, maybe this is like Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just, all right, let's get the heir to Stafford, and it's a free pick, right? It's not our pick. We can just do whatever we want with it.
Yep.
I don't think you necessarily want to go that route with this pick based on the players in the draft, because there's no shot that Ty Simpson is getting picked by anybody after this. Truly, I think this is has kind of fallen again into just best player available.
Yeah.
And you look at the players and the needs, it's kind of like what you think the Rams truly need. And to be honest, with a team that was so dang close to the Super Bowl, it's tough to know. Full disclosure, I'm just staring at their needs. I'm staring at the players that that are available.
Yeah.
And for my money, I guess it ends up just being like maybe just Keldrick Falk. I think I don't know the age of their offensive line. For some reason, my brain's saying it's kind of older, where they could go with like a tackle or something.
Yeah. They're definitely a team where like they're the Eagles of a few years ago, where they're going to start drafting 1 year ahead of when they actually need anybody. I don't think they have any glaring, like, we need to fill this position as a starter today. So I think it's more so of thinking about, like, what are they going to need in 2027? Obviously, like you mentioned with Simpson, quarterback could be one of those, but I don't think they take Simpson here. Wide receiver, it's unfun for fantasy, but like Devontae Adams is 33. They were floating the idea of trading him in the offseason. Puka is being a clown. They don't have anyone else besides Puka, really. Like, if Adams stops being Adams, like, they're in trouble at the wide receiver 2 position. And Tyson is only falling because he has a few medical red flags, but a lot of people consider him the wide receiver 1. So that would be my lean, but I don't think, like, offensive line or edge is a bad pick either. I think it's kind of
and that's what makes this so hard.
Yeah.
Like, these are like all of the these top 5 players that are available, I think, exception of Dylan Tiedemann, like, if I'm pronouncing it right. Like, I don't think any of these are wrong.
Yeah.
Specifically, I think for now I will lean towards your your thought here. Let's just go Jordan Tyson. Let's just make it really scary and more, greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a world where he is as good as we think he is.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I think Spencer Fano would have been a viable pick. I think an edge. My thing with edge is, like, their entire defensive line is young. So, like, it'd kind of be like a rotational edge. And, like, do you really want a rotational edge at pick 13? Like, I don't think they need that. I don't think you can have too many edges either. So it's truly just like they're spoiled with riches, like the Eagles were in years past. Just like, they don't need anyone. They can just take whoever the heck they want. So I'm up with the Ravens. They had the weirdest, most bizarre year imaginable last season. They finally moved on from their head coach, bring in Jesse Minter. Lamar is still here. They still really only have one wide receiver, but Jordan Tyson just went off the board, so we're not really looking there. They could definitely use interior offensive line. They're not desperate need on the defensive line, but again, they're certainly in the market for some rotational players, especially getting to the quarterback. I think I'm going to go Spencer Fano here. He tested extremely well at the combine. He can play tackle. He played right tackle in college, but he's got the flexibility to move inside to guard. They've even tested him at center, I believe, at the combine for a few snaps, more or less. So he's got a lot of flexibility, just kind of going the idea of best 5 offensive linemen on the field for them. You always want to protect Lamar, especially as he is 30. Like, that, the mobility is probably certainly not gone, but he didn't look the same last year, and there's no guarantee that he's just back to being Lamar this year. And if he's starting to regress as a rusher, like you want to be able to protect him a little better because most of his protection right now is just the fact that he's Lamar and it's hard to sack him.
Yeah, losing Linderbaum was rough.
Yeah.
And I think reshoring up that line is just like the smartest, just boringest move you can make. But the team kind of needs boring, and I think it's for a team that kind of desperately needs like offensive help, might as well just take it, like, give it to the offensive line, bolster that, help either Derrick Henry or who else is behind him. No longer Keaton Mitchell, so that's a bummer. But
just Justice Hill.
Yeah. All right, Tampa Bay. This is defense. This is another team that just needs like 6 rounds of defensive players.
Yep.
Safety doesn't seem quite right. He tested super well, and that's kind of the only reason why I know this name of Dylan Thieneman. I'm gonna say it different every time, just to really mess up you on the listeners.
I believe it's Thieneman.
Thieneman.
Yeah. Okay. So you were close. No.
All right.
No.
That was my third shot. I think it's going to be one of these 2 edge players. I think I've seen some mocks. They take Peter Woods here.
Yeah.
I don't really know if it matters too much. You could scroll down and hit that corner. I know the name Akeem Mesidor more than Keldrick Falk, and I think that's because Miami's defense was just so good.
Yeah.
I would lean towards probably just taking Mesidor only because I don't know much about the other guy. I don't know much about Auburn's team and what they're all about. So I don't know. Do you have like a 5-second pitch on him or no?
No, I think Falk he's very like raw from a pass rush standpoint. He's kind of similar to like Michael Williams, who went to the Niners last year in the first round, of like good at stopping the run. Pass rush is kind of a full projection at this point. Mesidor, the thing with him is that he's 25 already, probably going to be 20. Probably going to be 26 by the time training camp hits, if I remember correctly. But
that's crazy, man. Yeah. Portal's done some wacky things to these players. Well, okay, all right. Well,
I mean, Mesidor though is the better pass rusher. He's the better defensive player, and like you could argue that the Bucs are kind of in a win now mode. Like even though they're picking in the top half of the draft, like the NFC South is just permanently winnable at all times.
Yeah.
And they have Baker and they have Bowles, so I think Mesidor makes sense.
Like my thought is this team has always been so good at stopping the run, but so bad at the pass that like if there's anything that says I can pass rush, I think you lean this way. So I'll go ahead and click Mesidor here. And I'll get goofed on in the comments as well for not knowing my defensive players at this point.
It's all good. Funny thing about Mesidor is that he used to be a defensive tackle, and he dropped like 50 pounds over 2 or 3 years. So that's why he's such an old prospect, is he basically didn't play as he was transitioning from a defensive tackle to an edge rusher. And then when he finally was ready at Miami, he exploded. So
absolutely insane. All right.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Sounds good. Jets are up back on the clock at 16 via the Colts and the Sauce Gardner trade. I had them take Arvell Reese at 2. Yes, yep. Arvell Reese at 2. They still need basically everything. I'm going to take Dylan Thieneman here. He is a very good safety in his own right. He's not Caleb Downs, but he is pretty up there as far as safety projections go. Very good athlete, very good production. And, the Jets, in needing basically everything, don't really have the ability to be picky. They should just be taking more or less best player available. I'm lower on some of the guys hit the top of the board here as far as how Underdog ranks them. So Thieneman was my best player available to me. I think that's kind of an easy pick for the Jets. They're obviously loading up for the 2027 class as far as quarterback and some of the more premium positions are concerned, and they already have Reese, so they have a premium position, but I think Thieneman really helps bring that defense together. You're up with the Lions at 17 here, lowest we've seen them in a while.
I will do the boring thing. We will just build out the trenches. I think taking Monroe Freeling here just seems like a simple answer.
Yep.
They did just lose a tackle, right? I forget who the other tackle was. Not Ragnow. Oh no, they lost their center.
They lost Ragnow. He tried to come back. The league said he failed, and then they lost someone else this season. Yeah. He retired.
Either way, yeah,
they need line.
They need a line.
Yep.
Next question. Let's go to the Vikings.
Absolutely. Vikings at 18. At least for now, they have quarterback solved with Kyler Murray. They were probably really hoping that Thieneman got here. He did not. Wide receiver is interesting. Speaking of in the realm of clowns, Jordan Addison is definitely in that range as well. They did pick up his fifth-year option, so they're not entirely sick of him, but he's very talented. It's entirely a question of, can he stay out of trouble?
Stop being a knucklehead.
Yeah.
It's a simple answer. It's a simple solution. Stop
driving. Like, hire a chauffeur. Just hire a chauffeur. You make so much money. Just stop driving. I think the Vikings are kind of one of those teams where they just kind of need trenches, and you can never have too many offensive linemen or defensive linemen, really. I think I'm going to go, oh boy, I don't think I can say his first name, but Iani here, interior offensive line. They continuously need to protect whoever's back there at quarterback.
Olavia Vega.
Okay.
That's my guess. Final answer.
We'll go with it. It sounds good to me. I think Olavia Vega Ioane, and we'll move along.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Vikings O-line was decimated last year. That I do remember.
Yep.
So any sort of, back up there, just getting depth, never hurts. Panthers, more offense, more tackle need, but a lot of defensive need for a team that somehow almost beat the Rams that I was very high on.
Yeah.
So this is, again, kind of a dealer's choice to me. What you think, it's so tough when you don't watch the Panthers that much. You're like, I think they're all bad. The whole team's just bad, and yet they just found a way to win a division. So I will, again, default to just my heart of hearts, boring. I think we just go tackle here. Do they need defensive players? Sure, but just grabbing an offensive lineman to help protect your 5-foot QB, I think is fine. And
if I'd make a suggestion, it would be Lomu over Proctor, simply because Lomu is a left tackle. I believe Ickey Kwanu tore, I want to say, his ACL in that playoff game for the Panthers, and they're going to be without him as their left tackle for probably most of, if not all of 2026. Lomu can play left tackle, can play right tackle. Proctor is more of the gigantic 6'8", 360-pound, he's a tackle because he's large, but is probably a better guard type of player. So
okay.
That would be my suggestion.
It is.
Sounds good. I think that's a good pick for them. Like we said, offensive line is never a bad pick. I think more teams should build through the trenches, and I think that it's smart to do so, especially with how few actual good offensive linemen ever hit free agency. Cowboys back up at 20 here. They took Jermod McCoy at 12, the corner. I think this is where Keldrick Falk comes off the board. Obviously, they lost Micah Parsons. Falk is still more of a run stuffer with some edge rushing potential, but they're not. They still need help stopping the run as well. That's why they traded for Quinnen Williams. That's why they traded for Kenny Clark. And I think Falk is the type of developmental edge where he doesn't need to play 70% of the defensive snaps. He can be rotational. He can be an early down guy, work on his pass rushing moves. And if he develops, then you've got a great pick here at 20. And if he kind of stays the same, then you've still got a very good run stuffer that can occasionally help get you half a sack with someone else. So we'll go Falk here for the Cowboys and put the Pittsburgh Football Steelers on the clock at 21.
Alrighty. So I'm kind of bummed that they picked up Michael Pittman in free agency. I guess it was via trade.
Yeah.
Because Omar Cooper Jr. here would be kind of sweet. I would be really excited to sign him up here with mystery quarterback. So stupid. I hate Aaron Rodgers so much. Interior lineman, safety, corner, and D-line are what they're looking for here. And I'm either picking the safety or the D lineman here, Peter Woods or Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably safe also to put in the other two Clemson players. I didn't realize Clemson's defense was this elite.
That's the best part. They're not. They just got the prospects.
Yeah, I will go ahead and I'm just going to pick the safety. I think they were so old last year. If I remember correctly, the Steelers defensive backs were so just like the who's who of players you knew 5 years ago.
Yep.
And it is now past them. I think it's time that they kind of get a little younger at that position.
Yep. I think they've still got Jalen Ramsey floating around back there. Like they obviously traded away Minka. So
yeah, they need someone there.
Needs some infusion of youth, and I think McNeil-Warren is worth a first-round pick. Like we said, folks, there's not a lot of great premium position players in this draft. Like there's a lot of good, the positions that quote unquote don't matter in the draft circles in this draft. There's a lot of good linebackers. There's a lot of good safeties. There's still only one good running back, and he's gone, but a lot of good tight ends as well. So just a lot of luxury pick feeling type of players, but you're not going to go down your big board and take your 53rd ranked player at 20 simply because he plays a premium position. Like that's just bad drafting. That usually doesn't work. So I'm up with the Chargers at 22.
How fun would that be? Can you take on the Chargers?
Not fun for Rhonda Gadsden, but
no, it would not be.
I've seen him mock there before. I don't think I'm going to go that direction. I think I'm going to go Caden Proctor here. We know their tackles positions are set. They tried having a very large guard last year in Mekhi Becton. Didn't work, but I think that was more Becton didn't work than the actual position. Proctor is just a very large human, very athletic. I think you want to protect Justin Herbert, and I don't think they ever want to go through the type of horror season that they went through last year on the offensive line. I think they were at one point starting like their 9th and 10th ranked offensive linemen on their own team. So we'll go Proctor, give them some beef, and you are up with the Eagles at 23.
The Eagles. I don't know if Sadiq would really work here. It's an interesting ad because I don't know. I don't nothing about what this new offense is going to look like.
Yeah.
I think Goddard's still discussing his contract. So
he signed for 1 year, if I remember correctly. Okay. But
they like him. They like Katera.
Yeah.
So maybe it might be a funsies pick if they pick Sadiq and the real thing. But I do think we're looking at some of the more boring positions when it comes to fantasy. You're thinking Omar Cooper Jr.? You're thinking
Could be.
AJ Brown's gone?
I think if he's gone, he's a Patriot very specifically. And I think it really, if I had to guess, the Eagles want the Patriots first. Will the Patriots budge and do that? I don't know. They should.
There was rumors that the trade was going to happen like after the June 1st mark or something, because apparently the cap goes way down.
Yeah.
So we'll see. So that might be like a 2027 first in the future. So if the Eagles were going to go that route, I guess now would be the time to pick up an elite wide receiver. This would be the like most obvious indicator that AJ Brown's gone.
Yeah.
Like if they picked Omar Cooper Jr., maybe they pick up Casey Concepcion. I don't think they should do that. I don't think 2 Devonta Smiths is really good for your wide receiver room.
Yeah.
But I think that's like, I mean, generally that's a pretty good play. Or they can just pick Denzel Boston because he is just more of a 50-50 type of guy that you're going to play on the outside, do what AJ Brown did. I don't think that would be the case. So I know the Eagles are in a weird spot here because you kind of want them to end up picking like some linemen because they're pretty old now, like Lane Johnson's, getting up there. But then you look at the old linemen that are there, and none of them are really exciting. You have just Blake Miller from Clemson. If you're looking at the best available, I know Max Ironanker is someone's very exciting, but he's quite far down the list. That'd be kind of a big reach. I'm just yapping because what do you do?
I think right tackle makes a lot of sense, but they've also drafted their right tackle to replace Lane Johnson like 3 of the last 4 years, it feels like, and he just keeps not retiring, and those tackles either move to guard or they never develop. But I think it's probably receiver or tackle if I'm honest, and like you said, like the receivers at the top of the board are basically just like, what if Devonta Smith was still in college and not as good? And like, I could see it. Like you said, I don't know if they would flash that big of an indicator, though. I guess like
smart money would say they wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
they would they're gonna pick a wide receiver later in the draft and be like, oh, he's just depth because he's gonna be behind Hollywood Brown, haha.
Forgot.
So, for the sake of making sure it's not taking too long, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just going to pick Omar Cooper Jr. and we're just gonna say this. We're gonna say the Eagles say we don't care, we just want another good wide receiver in the house.
Yep, makes sense to me. Browns are back up. I took David Bailey for them at 6, who kind of fell. I think this is where Casey Concepcion comes off the board. They need weapons. They have Harold Fannin and a very uninterested, overpaid Jerry Jeudy and an injury-prone Cedric Tillman, and that's about it. I think Concepcion comes in, is immediately like a nice slot option, can play outside, gives the quarterback of the future another weapon alongside Fannin. And Browns are kind of, again, in that position of like they need to go offense, but offense is not in a great spot in this draft. But Concepcion is close enough to being a top 30-ish type of player on big boards that I think he's worth taking here.
Yeah, and I think that's just it's a weird fit because they have Isaiah Bond there, and they're not a similar player, but they don't really they're not different in size per se. So like if you're thinking about who's going to play outside, it's going to be trickier. But I think Casey Concepcion is just like so much of a better player, and he will find a way to be good. Like I'm not too worried. So we saw what Tom Monken could do with Zay Flowers. I think he can do the same thing with Casey.
Yep.
Bears. Yep, they're gonna go tight end here. Nah, this is just all defense. I think this is just gonna be TJ Parker. I think just another edge is good. I kind of wish they could find like another linebacker because I'm pretty sure their linebacker core is pretty old, but I think edge here is very, very good.
Makes sense to me. Buffalo Bills on the clock. Will Will I give them the next iteration of Keon Coleman? I don't think so. Would be funny, but
No,
I
they're
don't
not ready
think.
for that.
Yeah, I don't think they go that way. They do need linebacker. I think CJ Allen is another first round worthy type of linebacker. Again, we're talking about a team that's competing for a Super Bowl every single year as long as Josh Allen is there. Facing great quarterbacks, they need a defense that can hold up against some of these players. And I think CJ Allen is, again, just kind of a good off ball linebacker. He's going to be in the right places, he's going to make the right plays, has the athleticism to back it up, and be a good centerpiece of your defense for a long time. So we'll go CJ Allen. And you get the lovely San Francisco
Niners.
49ers.
Here's the thing. I think with the Kittle injury and Jacob Tongas being a different type of player, I think they might look Sadiq's way. I think Sadiq, if you think about the receiving core in the 49ers locker room, it's bad. It's not awful. It's just the fact that Ricky Pearsall doesn't exist. Juwan Jennings might be out the door. We're not really sure what's going on there. And I forget if they signed anybody. I think it's just DeMarcus Robinson right now.
Mike Evans.
Oh, wait, and Ayuk, of course.
And Mike Evans.
And Mike Evans. 30-plus-year-old Mike Evans.
Yeah.
So they're going to need another receiving option here. I think Sadiq plays that perfect type of like hybrid role. And I think they could do some really fun stuff. I don't think they're going to pick Denzel Boston, though it would be the perfect kind of Mike Evans protege, if you will, because they're going to play kind of a similar type of role. I think Sadiq is too athletic. I think he's too game breaking. I know he's raw. I know he's kind of only had a year production, and even at that 1 year, it's been meh. But I think kind of the physical traits are there. I'm going to send him to San Francisco, trying to survive the electrical substation. And see some cool stuff from fantasy.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. I think that's something they would do if Sadiq falls that far. I'm lower on Sadiq than pretty much anyone. I just think he's all traits and no production whatsoever. I don't think the NFL is going to agree with me. I think he's going in the first and probably in early 20s at the latest. But if he does somehow fall this far, I think the Niners would definitely snatch him up there. Texans on the clock. Offensive line, just every pick.
Find the next OT next to his name, slam it.
Yep, and I do think Blake Miller is the best offensive tackle available, has left and right flexibility, has been kind of in draft circles for a while now and kept not declaring, and now he's just run out of eligibility, but it's worked out for him. He's a fringe first-round pick, and I think he really solidifies the Texans, gives them another chance to just put the best 5 offensive linemen on the field. And we saw what CJ Stroud looks like when he's under pressure, and it's not good. So Texans need to do what they can to make sure that that never happens again, because if Stroud struggles this season, his confidence will most likely just be shot for good, and the team's confidence in him will probably be shot for good, and then all of that wheeling and dealing to move up to get him and Will Anderson was kind of for nothing. So,
well, I mean, at least Will Anderson is a absolute force. But I hear you, man. The Kansas City Chiefs, I think they're taking Boston. I think with the way this is now shaped out, because they took Sonny Styles early.
Yep.
And now looking at that wide receiver room, they need a real guy. Yeah. And when you look at the class that's around these players, right? So like if you look at all the wide receivers, the main 4 are gone that we like. So then Boston is kind of like de facto the best player here. You can make some decisions, or you kind of make some cases to keep waiting, and it doesn't really matter. Like, I know we both like Chris Bell a ton.
Yeah.
Like, the rest of the guys are kind of tough to swing. Yeah. And at least Denzel Boston is, he has the size, he has that outside playmaking ability. if they have Rushy Rice still doing everything he does in the middle, and Worthy is just kind of that speedster who is I don't even know anymore what his value is.
Yeah.
So I kind of like Boston going here. I think maybe in the real draft they might go another, boring position. I'll call it another defense.
Yeah.
But to me, I think this is actually kind of a good fit just in the way that this draft in particular has fallen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's definitely fair. They need an X. We need to stop having Tyquan Thornton and Juju Smith-Schuster and
please let Juju rest.
Please,
he has done his job. He just needs to
just
be that wide receiver 5.
And I think the Chiefs understand that they need to get back to being the Chiefs. They spent big money on Kenneth Walker. They saw Patrick Mahomes go down. They'll probably invest in offensive line with their early second pick, I would imagine. They could have gone it here as well, but I think any pick there would have been a little bit of a reach. Boston was just good player, ex-receiver on the board. You tie him to Mahomes. Rashee Rice is a very fragile future. He's probably not going to get a second contract with the Chiefs if he even makes it that far. So definitely think that's a valid pick. I am on the clock with the Dolphins. Who did we take at 11?
We took our good friend Kyle Lemon.
We sure did. Again, with Dolphins, it's kind of just best player available. They need everything. They're just bad everywhere. And just looking at the board from my own kind of personal understanding of the rankings and everything, pretty aligned. I think it's either Peter Woods or Caleb Banks, but I think I'll go Peter Woods here. Let him get off the board.
Yep.
Good freak athlete inside, a little raw from what we would prefer as far as a production standpoint. That's kind of the name of the game for everyone from Clemson. They're all athletic freaks who just didn't really play well last year, but the entire team didn't play well last year. So kind of up in the air as to what exactly caused that, but we'll go Woods here. You have your last pick of the draft with your New England Patriots.
Yeah, and I'm blanking on all their moves. I know they tried their best to get more help on the edge. I think they just keep drafting edge players. Morgan Moses is getting up there in age. I know he's over 30, so trying to find a right tackle is also interesting. There's been that clip of Vrabel teaching up Max Iron Anchor, so I think that might end up being what they pick or kind of what they're thinking of, and trying to bring in a little youth on that side of the ball. The other main one is Cassius Howell or Zion Young. I think those are probably high in contention. If Sadiq somehow landed all the way down here, I think this is exactly where he goes. I think that'd be a perfect spot.
Yeah.
But I think he like we've talked about, he might be just too much of an athletic anomaly for too many teams to give up on him or that early. So I think this is going to be just a probably edge pick. I think they do just pick Howell out of A&M just because I think they will just like it. Just need to get youth on the defense side.
Yeah, they got kind of carved up by the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, which is not really something you enjoy hearing when Sam Darnold is the quarterback. So
it was Ken Walker. It was Ken Walker's game. Sam Darnold just he did a little bit, but
and Howell is kind of another one of those run defender, pass rush is there, but somewhat of a projection. That's why he's going in the late 30s and not pick 6 or anything like that. So I think a run stopping high potential edge perfectly meets what the Patriots need. So I think that's a great pick. I have the last pick of our draft with the aforementioned Super Bowl champion Seahawks. I will not be taking a running back. I can promise you
why
that.
not? Come on.
There are no running
Darian
backs.
Price?
No, absolutely not. That's just That's just Zach Charbonnet with 2 knees, basically, and no ability to catch the ball. So definitely not taking a running back. Corner is interesting. They lost some players in their secondary. They were able to re-sign a couple, but definitely thinned out a little bit back there. Edge rusher is always in consideration, just as offensive line is always in consideration, especially when you are the best team in football and you have pretty much everything you need at this point. I think I will go edge, and I think I'll go Zion Young here. And that...
Yeah, I know that's a name a lot of folks like. So him sneaking in the first round, totally reasonable. And if it's not the Seahawks, it might even be earlier.
Yep. So that is that for our first round mock draft. I will not be reading that off because that's going to take a long time. If you missed any of it, you can go back and look at your picks.
Yeah. I wonder if you can share that with people. Probably. We could probably post this somewhere on socials.
The log out button. Let's find out.
I'm sure if you hit submit, I don't know if you want to submit this. I guess you can keep doing it. What's it say? Oh, submit as many marks as you want. All right, yeah. So Tim, if you hate this, you don't have to keep it, but we can at least screenshot it eventually. There it is. That's the share button.
Yeah.
Wow. You can I don't know. You can DM me that on Discord, or you can post it to Blue Sky if you want.
Yeah.
If not, I'll post it on the main account.
And that, let me see.
So that's it. So that's how the draft is gonna go. So put in your bets. Feel free to make $1 bajillion off of this if you're so brave. But we've seen the future.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Commanders, on the Jeremiah Love pick.
Absolutely. It's not letting me share, but I can just keep that window floating around and figure it out after.
I'm sure. Why not?
But in the meantime, we have a best ball draft that we have promised the people.
It's the time. It's what we're best at. Let's see here. We got some. Oh, we got War Rooms back, baby. Perfect. I can hop back in there eventually. I'm taking a little best ball draft pause.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get back into it and
see
how the ADP has changed.
Yeah. Big board is very close to full. If you have drafts to do, definitely hop in there. That's probably where we're going to be heading today. Most likely we'll take the War Room a while to fill for each draft. Since it's such a small field contest, less people are going to be drafting it. So we'll go into a big board here, 20 seconds per pick. And we'll see how long this takes to fill. We'll also see if I am going to get a location error.
Nope, it's going to be perfect first time.
It sure is. Waiting on 6. If you want to hop into a big board with us on Underdog, you can do so. If you have not signed up for Underdog yet and want to do so, you can do so with our promo code FN+. That's FNPLUS. I believe it's still, when you play $5, you get $75 in bonus funds to use on more pick'ems. You can use it on these drafts. So if you have not already, definitely sign up on Underdog. Use our code. We would greatly appreciate it. And we want to see you in these streets. It's fun to draft. It's fun to see how ADP changes over time. And you have a shot to win a lot of money if you do everything exactly correct. And, you know, there's not a lot of chances in your life to be able to make 18 to 20 decisions and have it lead to $200,000. So definitely worth taking at least 1 or 2 shots on if you haven't.
It's a scratch ticket that you actually have input on, you know?
Yep.
I don't know if that's a selling point for some folks. But at least to me, it feels a little bit better knowing that I had control over this, kinda.
Yeah.
The turf monster has the real control over everything. It decides whose ACLs are intact or not. I'll tell you what. I gotta get new earbuds. I don't know. I'm sure everyone's been staring at me playing with my ears for an hour now, but
All good.
it is, it's all about finding the things that work, and that's why we're here in the off season. We're just working on things.
Yep.
What can you do? It's just like the pros. No days off.
We probably need a training camp though. Probably got to ramp up.
Training camp would be big.
Warm up.
Training camp actually was just last year's early season streams / pods.
Yeah,
that was our training camp. Going back, I should go back and listen to me and Sean's first episode, and then our first episode.
Yeah,
it'll be night and day for sure.
Absolutely. Still waiting on 4 people here, folks. If you want to hop in, you definitely can. Just in the $10 big board, 20-second clock. We will draft when 12 people are in the room. Went a little long, very long, on NFL mock draft, but wanted to show off that new feature by Underdog. Wanted to have a chance to kind of talk through the NFL draft as it approaches, but this will probably be our only best ball draft for this stream, just to have a nice, somewhat shorter stream, a nice short 2-hour stream. Nothing too crazy over here.
Truly, just what people expect now with our faces on the screen.
Yep. I can kind of start prepping you on some ADP stuff while we wait, I guess.
What after the free agency? I imagine names like Ken Walker are shooting up boards, and then Travis Etienne. Did it really say Etienne?
Yeah, it's Etienne.
Like,
I think there's an I, like Etienne, kind of.
That's what I'm thinking. I thought it was more like French, like that, like Etienne, like Etienne.
It sounds like you're saying Etienne with a lisp almost,
right?
But yeah, I think it's just, I'm gonna say Etienne, most likely.
Whatever.
It's close, but yeah. The landscape so far, Jefferson is back firmly into the first round with Kyler at quarterback.
Right.
Puka's been flipped by Chase because of him being Puka.
Yep.
Devon Achane is weirdly not falling, despite them no longer having Jalen Waddle. So that's kind of interesting. A huge chunk of running backs, though, just like at the back of the first. It's anywhere from Cook all the way down to Walker. Tight ends are starting to fall a bit. McBride is now more of a back end second round pick. Brock Bowers sometimes falls into the third.
Okay. Good.
We get the 105. Alrighty.
Oh, is that new? That little giant yellow bar that says your probable pick?
Yep.
Now we can never forget it.
They installed that a couple weeks ago, maybe just 1 week ago. Whatever.
I mean, it's more for the new folks who don't see it that often. I feel like that's just
I think kind of like another visual indicator of like, hey, you're this many picks away from being on the clock. So, a lot of us panic anytime there's something new in our lives, but I don't think it really improves or makes anything worse. I think it's just something else on the screen.
It just is.
Yep.
It's just another color. Yeah.
So with the Puka stuff, he is falling. There's certainly a chance that JSN goes ahead of him in this draft. Do you want Puka if he's there at 5, or are we going to look more at these running backs or a different wide receiver and let him continue to fall?
Okay, hold on. Because I still think, I would rather. I think just JSN.
Yeah, makes it easy. Puka goes at 4. JSN, I like. I don't think Puka should fall, if I'm honest. Like,
that's the tough part.
like, yeah, the whatever legal stuff happens from the biting is probably the more concerning part than him having clownish beliefs and comments about his beliefs and whatnot, but that's not necessarily something new for NFL players. So I'm not really that worried. Like, I think people are overreacting to the idea that he's been in rehab for a long time now and is continuing to go to rehab. Like, whatever. I mean, like, good on him if he's actually getting rehab. Whether that's real rehab or celebrity rehab, I don't know. I'm not going to make a judgment call one way or another on that. But when he's on the field, he's probably the best wide receiver in football, I would still say. Like, Chase is certainly just as good, but Puka just always wins.
Yeah. It's a lot like the Tyreek Hill dilemma.
Yeah.
For those who, felt like this way. Because there's just so many times where you don't really want to root for that. Like, if something comes out more about Puka, then you're like, oh, man, I don't want to. I don't know. It's very tough. Like, sometimes you can have problems separating your fantasy brain from your, good person brain.
Yep.
But until I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how Puka does with rehab. I'm hoping I hope for the best. Truly.
Yep.
I hope he gets the help that he needs, and he continues to be a fantasy football player, but just a little bit like better head on his shoulders.
Yep. And if you're someone who doesn't draft knuckleheads, like, totally acceptable stance to take. Like, it's your money in this situation, or your own personal fantasy drafts once we get to redraft season. Like, you are free to navigate that situation however you would like. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Running back has been wiped out, so we're pretty much not going that way.
Oh, yeah, it's like, so goodbye. So hello, a 0 RB.
Yep.
And at this rate, I would happily accept this. McBride saying end of the second round, that's pretty much right where we're at.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy with this. I think, I was going to say Nico. Where'd Nico go? Oh, he's still there.
Yeah.
Do
you want London, McBride? McBride kind of falling, not really.
I would probably just take London.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. There's a world where we could get one of McBride or Bowers. Very rare. I think these drafters here are all thinking the same thing. They're like, all right, we can get one more and then gamble.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of just where you're at with this, especially with those two players. And then if we don't get Loveland, and then we're just going 0 tight end. I think that's what it turns out to be.
Yeah, which honestly I probably prefer. I like Loveland, but he's a little rich for me. Like, I don't functionally see that much of a difference in situation between him and Warren, except that Warren goes like 30 picks later now.
Wow.
Like, honestly, Warren might have a better situation simply because he doesn't have nearly as much target competition as Loveland does. So
a full 2 rounds is pretty absurd to me.
But I get it. Yeah, it might be more than 2. It's the crazy part.
We're going to get Olave. All right. So goes Chase Brown.
I want running
Jacobs.
back.
Yeah, because we're running low now, so you at least want one of them.
Any preference on the 3?
Josh Jacobs is just on the best team of all of them, so I lean towards there. Yeah, we don't have time, so I'm going to say that. Like, there's a longer discussion we had about ETN.
Yeah.
Now, that is the initials, not saying his last name. That's just the way that we like to say it sometimes.
Yeah.
Not even initials, just letters in his name.
We'll get there.
But Travis Etienne is very good, and he had a really huge bounce back season.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see how he plays with the Saints, because that is a different offense. Both Liam Cohen and Kellen Moore have run very well structured offenses, so there should be success. But to me, Jacobs, I know he also carried the ball a million times, but I feel more confident in reliable production from Josh Jacobs.
Yep. And underdog is half PPR, so while the pass catching is still useful for HN, like it's kind of less important comparatively versus a Jacobs or a Brees Hall. Like it's more so just about touchdown scoring, I'd say. So Loveland goes. His ADP was kind of around the 40. He actually goes wildly early, but his ADP should have been around 46. It's about 22 picks of difference between him and Tyler Warren. So about 2 rounds, not quite. This 12-hole double tapped Bears, though, which I'm seeing relatively often. So we're about up on the clock already.
That's an interesting meta shift.
Yeah.
Like seeing them double tapping the same team, I get it, because that means obviously that's just prevents you from picking Caleb Williams. Or yeah, makes it harder to pick Caleb Williams now if you don't have his main 2 targets.
Yeah. Bucky goes. He would have been an interesting convo. Do you have a wide receiver order preference out of all these guys? Devonta goes.
My quick glance would be Zay Flowers, and then into Devontae Adams, and probably James Williams and Mike Evans. I think that would be my order there.
Not as high on Igbuka.
I'm not. Okay. I should be more excited about Igbuka. The vibe of the flat end of the season really threw me off.
Yeah.
And I know Mike Evans is gone. I know Jalen McMillan is still just like a Jag, kind of. He's probably a little bit better than a Jag. I think he's probably. I was like, he's probably has a little more juice than I'm giving him credit for. And then Chris Godwin's still there. So there's a lot of uncertainty. And also we got a new offense coordinator again for the 8th time or something in Baker's career.
Yeah.
I don't know. I as a fantasy football player am really open to a lot of like being wrong. Like I just have a lot of feelings and then I'm wrong a lot, which is a problem. But like it just happens. There's so many players. You can't be perfect. It's impossible.
Yeah.
But like Bugas is one of those players that like I'm okay with being wrong on. I'm gonna have a low share, and it is what it is. On the clock.
I think we just
I like the Q here. I like the Q a lot. I like Lamar here.
Yeah. I like Judkins, but I think just stacking Lamar is the adult decision to make, unfortunately.
And it gives us that Konami Cole quarterback. It does everything we need for this roster. I'm in love with the roster currently as is.
Yeah,
this feels very strong.
It's probably one of my strongest starts that I've had for sure. Which is funny because it felt scary after the first 2 rounds of like, oh God, no running backs. We're in trouble. Things are getting scary here. But
all right, reel me back in. Carnell Tate at 55.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Yep.
In the past few weeks? Okay.
Yep.
Sure, I guess. Oh.
So I can kind of run through the ADP change as a whole since we've last gone through this. The running backs continue to rise, except for RJ Harvey. He's the only faller, but like
makes sense. Oh.
Like Bashal Tootin went at 56 here. Like
makes
David
sense.
Montgomery at 54. Like the running backs are just getting it feels like 2022 again of just like any running back with a pulse is going early. And you would think that you should then go 0 RB to kind of go against that grain. The problem is that there's not really any good 0 RB candidates down the board. You kind of just have to accept that you have to take running backs earlier than you would because there is almost no flexibility in there at all, and it's scary.
That's nuts to me, but I get it. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Scary. And it does make drafting a little harder.
It does.
Because theoretically, it should push up other wide receivers, but it doesn't even look like that's happening.
No, the wide receiver cliff still exists. Like, we're basically at it after, I would say, probably after Harrison.
Is the NFL just bad now? Do we have bad players playing the NFL?
I'm Tyler Warren here, unless someone
I
else.
like this, and then that's just the top of the queue there. Yeah, with Lamar, like if we didn't have Lamar, I'd probably go Drake May here. But Tyler Warren, smart, safe, just the number one target on that team.
Yeah,
like I do think he's probably gonna out earn Josh Downs.
Yep.
And then Alec Pierce got the bag, but they play such different roles. Like,
yeah,
I would not be shocked if we at the end of the year we see once again Warren having more receptions and targets.
Yeah, I just like this entire range in the late 6th, early 7th is just like permanently gross to me. Like, I love Jordan Tyson. He's pretty much the only guy I really want here. Like, we're talking about 6 fluke games of Parker Washington. Chuba is not that good. DK Metcalf is kind of washed. We're talking about like 8 fluke games of Michael Wilson.
Can we call 8 games fluke games?
Unfortunately, we have reason to believe that is possible and has repeated.
Is it the 3 seasons prior that he's done nothing? Is that why?
I mean, but even like Brian Thomas Jr., like he had like 6 good games and we drafted him in the first round because of it. I don't like anyone here. Like, I like Fannin the most, and that feels bad. But like,
I like Parker Washington here, but I think Fannin is just the best pick.
I mean, we can go Washington from like a structural thing, because I really don't want to take 2 tight ends in the first 7 rounds.
Yeah, my thoughts on Parker Washington. There was always a couple years back when they had Calvin Ridley on the team, the Jaguars.
Yeah.
He got hurt, and Parker Washington came through, and he was always kind of like feisty with the amount of targets he would get. He always kind of seemed open, but I don't think they really knew what to do with him quite yet. I forget who else they had. They had someone else that was like pretty much not helpful for fantasy, but he was just around. And then, obviously, what did you say?
Gabe Davis.
Oh, he was Gabe Davis. It was him, and then I think they had another, not DJ Chark. I think he wasn't on the team at this point. Anyway, my point is that I think Parker Washington's better than we're giving credit for. I do think he's probably going to do better than Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
And then Travis Hunter now is in a weird spot where he probably should play more defense than offense. And BTJ is on the team. No idea what his role will look like next year. I don't know if he has the yips anymore. I don't know if he gets traded. I don't know if he's just now just like a sacrificial X where he's just running wind sprints down the sideline. So we'll see. I like Parker Washington at the moment.
Yeah. I figured out why the 12 hole is taking all bears.
Chi-Town all day. All right.
We've cracked the code, folks.
The game within the game, sometimes it's important to realize what's happening.
Yeah. And you're going to get people like that. And to be fair, most of it is relatively close to ADP. Like, he didn't go absolutely wild, but
I love that. I love the Swift into Caleb Williams double tap though. That seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow,
and you got basically all bears except for Rome on that team, so that's fun.
Who took Rome? Who did it? No one yet, right? I don't think Rome's. Oh yeah, our 1 seed.
Rome
Read the room. One spot.
Rome at the 5-1 is kind of early, actually. I'm surprised he went that early. Oh boy. This is just gross again.
I don't hate. Oh, he's on Pittsburgh. Wait, who just got signed to the Lions then? Who'd they just pick up? They picked up some of their bruiser back.
Pacheco.
Oh, right. Algier, I like, just because that offense is weird. And
we could ruin Chi-Town's day and take Monangai as well.
God, I love Monangai so much. I don't want to do that to him. It would break his heart. Their heart. I don't know if it's more.
I think we'll do Algier.
I think Algier or Dial are like kind of your main two pull for emergency purposes.
Yeah. And like he's the starter for sure. How much work he gets, we don't know, but he will almost certainly be the goal line back, and he'll be the early down back, and whatever pass catching he gets is a bonus, but he'll almost certainly split some with James Conner. But I think Algier is a perfectly fine pick and is a decent bet for 10 gross touchdowns in a season.
Oh, we might get Menungai anyway.
I'm surprised.
Like, it's a bummer because that's like kind of the correct play.
Yeah. I don't mind Laporta or Kraft as well. Do we have any other stacks? Not really.
No. Well, we could do, I mean, you could pick up Kraft and then aim for Love on our next to get our second quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think Love makes it back to us. And Kraft goes anyways.
Oh, okay. Makes it easy for us.
Menungai.
I'm with you on Laporta here. I do like J.K. Dobbins. I don't know if it's stupid to pick him.
No, I think Dobbins probably makes more sense than Laporta, to be honest.
I think the whole Dobbins-Harvey combo is very cut and dry to me.
Yeah.
Like, the Denver Broncos would not have brought back Dobbins after that injury if they didn't love him more.
Yep.
Simple as that.
I mean, Harvey was not good in the playoffs. He wasn't even really good in the regular season either. He just broke a couple screenplays for big plays. He kind of had almost the exact same season as Trevion Henderson, and Henderson is keeping his late 4th round, early 5th round price for some reason, and Harvey is at least dropping into like the 70s now, sometimes even the 80s. I still don't love the price of Harvey in the 70s, but it's at least a lot more palatable than it was at the beginning of draft season when he was right in this area as well. So, yeah, I like Dobbins. He has some juice. He's only like 27, I think. Like, he's not old.
Well, that's the thing. Harvey's 25.
Yeah, like Harvey is old.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think Dobbins makes sense for our team, works well there. He's someone who will hit our flex probably like 40 to 50% of the time. We have 3 strong wide receivers that should be hitting our lineup every single week, more or less. We're good at quarterback. We're good at tight end. Parker Washington will probably be flip-flopping some of those weeks with Dobbins or Algier for a flex spot. And everything else at this point is just like depth and hoping for spike weeks from some players. So I like
the fun part of the draft, if we will. Because now you're just thinking, now you're just lying to yourself about, oh, this can happen.
Yeah.
Wandale to Tennessee. Give me your thoughts on that one real quick.
I mean, like, it's better than anything Cam Ward has had, but I just don't think it's going to matter that much, if I'm honest. Like,
Dable is the OC, just follows them around.
Yeah.
I guess
like,
he dragged Wandale to them, but
I guess I'm just still kind of skeptical, like, how good Wandale actually is, or if he just kind of got lucky and got fed everything because there was no one left.
I think that's the answer. Alrighty.
This all sucks. I kind of want Malik Willis out of all of these people.
I think you take Malik Willis. I think this gives you, again, another QB who should have at least some potential upside for rushing.
Yep.
I think we might have even talked about this last time we drafted about, I think he had like 3 or 4 games of like over 40 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah. The biggest meta, and it was kind of already there when we drafted last time, but it's like even worse now, is just like basically all the quarterbacks that are going to start a game are gone by round 13. Like, we're taking Jacoby Brissett at pick 156 now. Like,
what
this
are
guy
we
was
doing?
like Gino is 170. It's just, you absolutely cannot wait on quarterback. You will get shut out. You have to just reach and take your guys every single time that you think. Like, I think we should take Darnold here, stack him with JSN, and just be done.
I am okay with that. looking at the players too that would be around this area, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
And that's a horrible decision. Like it's awful to say out loud like that, but
Yep.
it's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't feel good to take Sam Darnold in the 11th round, but you just kind of have to. Especially, and he's your QB3. Like, it just feels gross. It really does. But, like, you know, you're hoping Lamar's hitting your lineup 80 to 90% of the time anyways. And then if Willis is good, he's going to seesaw a little bit, and you have Sam Darnold to cover any bye week shenanigans if Miami and Baltimore have the same bye week somehow, and that's your room.
Yep. I forget now at this point we're drafting without knowledge of bye weeks. So we need to have that third QB. I'm like in the Best Ball Mania brain still.
It's close. We're less
No,
than a month away.
20 days. 21 or 23 days probably after the draft.
I think it launched. Yeah.
Oh,
I think it
wait,
launched.
no, we need to.
No, it launches like directly after the draft. Because all of the pre-draft stuff closes the day the draft starts.
Sorry for people hearing me type. NFL schedule released.
That's true. That will come out later. There will be some parts of Best Ball Mania where we still don't know bye weeks.
Just clicking all these SEO articles. So last year's was in May. So a couple weeks after. All right, so around 2 weeks after the draft.
Yep.
All right, we're looking at Juwan Jennings, who's trying to find a wide receiver 1 contract. Bill might be usurped by Gerald Love.
Yeah. I love Jennings here. I don't know about you.
I think it's worth it. Juwan Jennings is clearly a good wide receiver 2 on a team.
Yeah.
It's just where does he land? Like, what team thinks he's there? Like, if it ends up staying in San Fran, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, something that has been brought up on a couple other best ball streams, like ship chasing and all that, is like everyone who isn't signed right now, like same with Stephon Diggs, like they're only not signed because there's basically like a clause of like when they're waiting until after the time period where you get comp picks for signing players. And like both of them would get comp picks if you sign them before a certain date.
Yeah. Like, I don't think I knew that part, but I just figured it's draft season. Why would they waste money?
Actually, should we go Andrews double stack?
Yeah, we have 2 tight ends. We have just Warren double stack.
Yeah. Late pivot, but I realized that we were kind of in tight end land, and it's going to start looking pretty gross when we come back around.
And so they'll need to find another tight end because Likely is gone.
Yeah. I mean, they may just not. They may just be like, well, Likely's gone. Back to all Andrews.
That would be pretty sweet because then everybody gets the discount on Mark Andrews for fantasy.
Yeah. They're probably going to take someone on 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Like, I doubt it's Sadiq. It could be Sadiq. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if it's Sadiq, but it'd be kind of silly based on what other needs they have as a team. Could be Stowers in the 2nd, or it could be one of these 50 different tight ends that are okay college producers that are great athletes that are entirely landing spot dependent based upon whether we care for fantasy or not. So
yeah,
whichever one of them inevitably lands in Baltimore will probably be somewhat fantasy relevant and will matter, but there is literally no way to know who that's going to be yet.
Emmanuel Wilson's a pretty good pick there.
Yeah, he's rising. I mean, I remember when I think we got him in like the 18th round at some point, and now he's the first pick in the 14th and still going up. Like, it's not a bad pick, but like, it just goes to show that how much prices change with one piece of news, like going from pretty much the locked in number 2 in Green Bay to like unknown what he is in Seattle. He jumps a long ways. I'm very pro Diggs here if he's still there.
With our wide receiver room, sure. Why not?
Who knows?
Oh my. I guess it's Emmett Johnson. I think you just take a rookie instead.
Okay.
Like Pacheco, I don't even know if it's good enough to be the goal line back.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely a change of pace. He's definitely just someone that's safe and just a real bruiser type. But I don't know what his role is going to be like on that team.
They could just draft someone and he's just completely pointless. They paid him like
it's just dust.
Yeah, like paid him like what, $2 million? Like he is not locked in as their 2 by any stretch. It could be Emmett Johnson. Like they could easily take someone like that, get similar abilities, possibly even a better runner than Pacheco. Like I don't think Pacheco's locked in at all, and I kind of don't want to be taking him this early until I know for sure, because he has a lot of risk of just becoming dust, I think.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to remove him from the queue. This entire range is horrifying. Spears and other Atlanta B-Rob.
Wrong, Brian Robinson.
Yeah, like all the receivers are gross in this range.
What? Come on, man. You got Tesla.
He's gone.
Yeah.
No, he's there.
Well, you got Tyreek Hill who might retire.
Oh boy.
If I'm being non-jokey, I think it ends up being just B-Rob.
Okay.
Because of our running back room being kind of shallow, which is such a bummer.
Current Tyler Algier and future Tyler Algier. I guess it's past Tyler Algier and present Tyler Algier.
Yeah. To get rid of Tesla. I don't think we take Stowers either. I love Stowers. I don't think this. I think we're sitting with 2. I don't know if we want 3.
I think so. Like with Stowers not being a 20th round pick anymore, like it's a lot less fun to grab him at this point unless he starts falling. Like we're done at quarterback. I think we're done at tight end unless something really changes. I think it's just pure running back, wide receiver, rest of the way. Could be balanced, honestly could probably go running back heavy here and maybe only grab like 1 or 2 more receivers and then do like 3 more running backs.
Yeah, I want to watch Tank Dell. I want to keep an eye on Mike Washington. I think
he's long gone.
Really? I thought I just saw his name. Maybe I'm crazy. You know what? Malik Washington.
Yes.
That got me good. All right.
You ready for this price? The 1101 for Mike Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Ran fast immediately.
Big dude fast.
Almost a top 10 round pick.
We'll ignore the 5 fumbles. We're good. It's all good, guys.
Geno Smith falling for whatever reason. I guess the Garrett Wilson drafter is bored. I don't
really need it yet. Not yet.
Like Tucker and Bigsby are fine. Mooney and Kirk are fine.
Nick Singleton might be interesting only because we'll see where he lands in the draft. But because his foot should be healed by the time they get to training camp, I think he's an interesting click.
Yeah.
Elijah Surratt. Why do people hate Elijah Surratt so much?
They just, any rookie who's not a guaranteed first round pick at this point, people are just kind of afraid of. I think we should go Singleton.
I would go Singleton here just because it's more fun. I think the likelihood he ends up being something more than nothing. I don't know if that's a dumb sentence to say. Like it's pretty high.
Yeah.
Also, I hate Darnell Mooney. I hate you now. I don't know. That's pretty mean because he was hurt. But man, he should have been a lot better last year, and he just wasn't.
Yeah. Could go both Penn State running backs. I'm going heavy running back because as soon as Katron Allen is off the board, it's nothing. There's just dust. So like, even though there are some interesting wide receiver clicks up here, like you just have to take running back and just be like, I'm going to take a couple late wide receivers.
It's crazy to me that in the mock draft database right now, Katron Allen's like a good like 50 picks ahead of Nicholas. Sorry, flip it. Nicholas Singleton is ahead of Katron Allen.
Yeah. Which Allen would you like?
Braylon
or Katron?
I kind of like Braylon Allen, but go Katron.
Yep.
I'm gonna make it hard for you. I only like Braylon Allen because I don't know what the future of Breece Hall is, and they didn't sign him, right? They tagged him. They tagged Breece Hall.
Which, like,
man,
my thing is like they could still draft someone because they're just going to need to address the situation next year because they're almost certainly not going to actually sign him to a contract. And like Braylon Allen's is truly a jag. Like he's just a guy. He's just kind of large, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like he's done absolutely nothing with all opportunities he's gotten. Like he doesn't really produce at all, and it's the Jets. So touchdown equity is kind of non-existent. So
exactly.
Do you think we're done at running back, or do you want to grab an 8?
I would lean towards we're done.
Okay.
We are right now we are in the 18th round.
Yeah. So we have a 3-7-5-2.
If someone pops up that we really like, then sure. Like, let's see here.
Sure doesn't.
No, come on. George Alani's right there. What do you mean?
Oh boy.
And our boy oh god.
Yeah, but like we're looking at like 5th or 6th round rookie pick running backs at this point. Like,
okay, so I think we're done here.
Yeah, I think it's purely wide receiver, maybe a 3rd tight end, but
I like Hollywood Brown here. Like,
yeah, washed, but will be on the field, especially if AJ Brown is gone.
Like, I think he's better than Jahan Dotson, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. I have no question about that. Well, Dotson's not even an Eagle anymore, I don't think.
Oh God, where did he go?
Yeah, he's a
Atlanta, of course.
That's the wide receiver 2 of the Falcons right there.
Oh, what are we doing? He was on the board.
Oh darn, that is actually very funny. I've never once thought about his name, and then I'm like, he actually is probably the Falcons wide receiver 2 right now. Hopefully they change that. Not guaranteed. Oh, there goes Hurst. I would like a fun rookie, personally. Oh, there's Dotson. I'm still very pro Skylar Bell. I don't know if you have any thoughts on him yet.
I think Skylar Bell's like legit. The concern just is against competition. Like the ACC is just not good. So like, how real is it? Like I didn't hate his QB either. I didn't hate Joe Fajano. I forget how to pronounce that name. But
do you want to go Chris or Skylar?
Man, let's go Skylar. Why not? Let's go Skylar. Like I really need to do more drafting so I get more Ted Hurst in my life. I think he can be something really cool.
Same. I think Bryce Lance can be too.
Bryce Lance is interesting for sure. Like, I need to watch his actual tape.
It just looks like slightly lesser version of Christian Watson. It really does, right. Which makes sense. Same school, same physical profile. Like,
does he stay on the field?
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, sign me up.
Yeah,
but I think Chris Bell is just a better wide receiver. I know we love Torrey Horton in this house. Maybe we just don't pick him though.
Shaheed going back is kind of a bummer.
That's kind of my main issue is because I know we like Cooper Kupp, and Shaheed's still there. It makes the path a little harder.
Yeah, I mean Jalen Knowles probably still a good pick. There's a chance that Tank Dell's just dust. We could stack up
Keon.
Jalen Tolbert with Malik Willis.
Now we're talking. Is it Jalen Tolbert who's like 35 years old?
No.
No, who's the other guy on the Cowboys who's really fast?
Kevontae
He's like their
Turpin.
punt returner. Kevontae Turpin. Thank you. Yeah.
Or Tutu Atwell to stack up with Malik Willis.
I'm done with the Miami Dolphins. What happened? What absolute abomination of GMing occurred when they were picking up the wide receivers for their project quarterback?
But they're not. I mean, Alec Ayamanor is still here as well. Like, I don't think he's dust either.
If he's actually here by our pick, I think that's the pick.
Yeah, I think this would be my top 3.
Get Darius Slayton out of there. You're never picking Darius Slayton.
I might. They might not draft anyone.
Oh my God. If the Giants don't, man.
They still haven't.
I know.
You good with Ayamanor over Vele or Noel or anyone else?
I am. I really like him. And I do think he's young enough. And I do think he showed a little bit enough for me to be like kind of excited going into this next season. Very cautiously optimistic because it's the whole Tennessee Titans as a whole are brand new. And
yeah. Alrighty, folks. We did it. Got through 20 rounds. I'll recap the team real quick, and then we'll kind of get out of here. Finished with a 3-7-8-2 build. 3 quarterbacks of Lamar Jackson, Malik Willis, Sam Darnold. At running back, definitely went hero RB here with Josh Jacobs, Tyler Algier, J.K. Dobbins, Emmett Johnson, Brian Robinson, Nicholas Singleton, and Katron Allen. Wide receiver, a very fun start of the room with Jackson Smith and Jigba, Drake London, Zay Flowers, Parker Washington, Juwan Jennings, Hollywood Brown, Skylar Bell, and Alec Ayamanor. Then our 2 tight ends, Tyler Warren and Mark Andrews. What are your thoughts on that team?
I love our start. I think the back half of this draft kind of shows a lot of the difficulty navigating the early running back pool. Yeah. And there's really not a lot you can like do to stop that. So like, and you can go back between all your picks, right? So like maybe Parker Washington, maybe we pick Jalen Warren instead. Like, do you think that's really what you wanted to do?
No,
like,
I feel
even at that pick, like it was just how it was Warren or Tyler Algier.
Yeah. Those are the only 2 that went.
What are we supposed to do? Right?
Nothing. So you're supposed to pick them earlier.
Exactly. So I think the overall draft, I give this draft like a B+, A-. I think we did a pretty good job of balancing this. I think with how all these drafts go, it just boils down to your confidence level and all the rookies. Like, I'm kind of glad we didn't take any of the early rookies.
Yeah.
I think it made our team a lot more stable.
Yep.
It might lose some upside because we didn't get the value on like Omar Cooper Jr. or something, but like truly getting vets all the way down till when was our first rookie? Like 13th round, 14th round with Emmett Johnson, who might be a late day 2 pick. Yeah, yep. I'm happy with this. Like, this seems like a good roster and not one that I think you'll be like, oh man, check this out. But I think you still can. Honestly, the more I think about it, I'm like, actually, this seems pretty rad.
The way I definitely agree. The way I kind of view it is you've got your 3 wide receiver starters pretty much every week, and then Parker and Jennings to kind of slip in there from time to time, and then 3 kind of like random spike week, random bye week shots later at wide receiver. At running back, your Jacobs should hit your lineup every week. Algier and Dobbins should be flip-flopping, seesawing, that sometimes both of them are going to hit your RB2 and your flex. And then your RB3 is just the conglomeration of these 4 guys. Like, you're hoping 1 to 2 of them hit. It's possible none of them hit. It's possible multiple of them hit, but you're hoping for at least one out of these 4 to just give you some usable weeks, some scores that help you win, help you advance, possibly even help you win in week 15, 16, and 17 when it all matters. You know, if Bijan goes down in week 2, then you've got a fantastic pick here in 15. You've got 3 rookie upside shots, whether they get good landing spots or not. Like, you're hoping for an injury probably with any of them anyways, unless one of them gets the Seahawks job. And yeah, tight end, it's just 2 solid tight ends every week. You have like the top option at Tyler Warren for his team, and you have like a double stack of Ravens with Andrews and Zay Flowers stacked with Lamar, and you're just hoping the Ravens are back to being the Ravens. And then a couple fill-in quarterbacks. So I think it's a strong construction, and like it's the back half of drafts right now are disgusting. Like, basically, let me look at this board right now. I can tell you exactly where it starts being gross. It's right after Dylan Sampson, right here. Every pick after that just feels like yuck. Like, there's so little upside for any of these guys. Like, you know, even someone, we used to be excited about Tajay Spears, but if they take Jeremiah Love, like, Spears is effectively just like useless. Like, Brian Robinson's not very good. Like, Isaiah Pacheco's not very good. You know, these are wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4s that are pure dart throws. You know, we're into like the tight end 24, 25 at this point. You have 1 starting quarterback left. It's just, everything's just gross. Like, it feels like years past, there was a lot better options late. You could get some fun rookies. You could get some like high draft capital guys that were just not going. Really, the only position you can do that is wide receiver, and they're still climbing boards. Like, there was definitely a time when you and I were drafting where you could get Chris Brazzell in the 20th, you could get Jeremy Bernard in the 20th, you could get Elijah Surratt in the 20th, and like all these guys are now up into the 14, 15, 16, and they're going to rise even more the instant they get draft capital. So it's not fun to draft in the back half. You're just pure dart throws, hoping and praying for a single week, to be honest.
And that's just the beauty of the game, right?
Yep.
Just look, are my random lottery tickets better than yours?
We'll see. Alrighty, folks. Well, that will do it for us tonight. We appreciate you joining in. Hope you liked that first round NFL mock draft. We are hoping to have some big things coming for you. We are definitely planning on streaming during the NFL draft. We'll be talking through the picks as they happen, might have some guests on, might do some other stuff. Not really sure yet, but we will definitely be live all 3 days, starting with the first round on that Thursday night. So keep an eye out for that. More to come from there. And again, before we sign off, if you haven't already and you want to sign up for Underdog, please use our promo code FN+. That's FNPLUS. When you play $5, you will get $75 in bonus funds to use at your discretion. Join us. You can draft teams like this, or if you think you can do better, you can draft against us. We will almost certainly be streaming in the few weeks leading up to the draft still, having some more of these conversations. So until then, have a great rest of your night, and we will see you guys later.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.